Hey guys, yeah, sorry for being like half a minute late. I had some issues starting the stream for whatever reason. It said that it was an issue with the internet, but we should be fine now. We will be watching Tsitsipas play Opelka in Barcelona. This is, of course, the second day of action at this ATP 500. It's changed this year because the draw is now 32, just like every other ATP 500, I think. Whereas previously it used to be 48 players, but now it's in the same week as another ATP 500 in Munich. On the screen, I put for you the scores from two matches because I guess Carreño Busta against Fields on Pista Andres Jimeno is similarly interesting. We are going to be following Tsitsipas against Opelka on Pista Rafa Nadal, though. And Stefanos, of course, is the runner-up from last year. He didn't defend his Monte Carlo points. He fell out of the top 10 and fell out of the top 10 pretty heavily. So still more to like chase, more to defend this week for him. Obviously, he's been very good in Barcelona over the years with many runs, so it's not like he cannot do it. In fact, I'd say a match like today against Opelka, I mean, you'd expect him to win. This is a match where certainly Steph has to feel the pressure of like, I gotta take this. Reilly is fine on clay. He's had a Rome run before. The fact that he's so tall, obviously the high bounce will kind of suit his baseline game. But at the same time, Stefanos is such an like all-round athlete, complete player on clay courts. You would think that he can do it, but let's see. So far, it's Opelka taking the first game and now actually producing a very nice point with an inside-in forehand winner. This is 15-all in the second game now, right? Tsitsipas spreading the court with the forehand beautifully here. Opelka is relatively quick for his height, but definitely not that quick. There's also Munich, as I said, happening at the same time. I'm going to mention these matches from time to time. Also, free courts running at the same time there. Tuesday is basically one of the, as usual, it's kind of like the heaviest day of action on the ATP Tour. As you basically have to like complete your entire first round unless you are an indoor event, and then you can move some matches to Wednesday. They've played twice before, by the way, both in the, let's say, North American US Open lead-up swing. 2020, you might remember that match. That was, well, actually, not that much. You might not remember. Never mind. I don't remember that much. 2020 Cincinnati was the New York version, I think. And Tsitsipas won via retirement, whereas Reilly was serving at 6-5. Sorry, it was up 6-5 without breaks. And 2021 is the one memorable match between them when Reilly Opelka made his first ATP 1000 final, to this day the only ATP 1000 final, by defeating Stefanos Tsitsipas in the semifinals in Canada. 21, I guess that must have been Toronto. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, one game all here. So far, so good for both players. We've got Tsitsipas's dad in his box, I see. That's quite interesting, as some time ago he basically said that he was going to be splitting up with him. Apostolos did a lot of work with his other brothers. He also coached Henry Haupt from Germany, and yeah, the Stefanos Sakellaridis maybe as well, I think. So yeah, he was definitely busy, and there are rumors, pretty confirmed rumors, I'd say, that Goran Ivanisevic will be working with Stefanos Tsitsipas, but apparently Steph hasn't been like too forward with talking about Goran this week in Barcelona. Of course, the journalists there, they were trying to like get it out of him, but Steph said that he can't confirm anything like 100% and that we will know in the coming days or something like that. So he was a little like mysterious about it. I don't know what the reason for that is, but that was the case. But yeah, these three matches right now, Tsitsipas, Opelka, Carreño Busta, Fields, and Baez Jumhur is what we can watch in Barcelona for the time being. Here, of course, we're going to be focusing on this one, 15-all in Reilly's game here. Tsitsipas returning from the very, very back of the court, and it gets the job done. It's like a moonball return, but Reilly is going to slam that forehand way long. Last year, you might remember Tsitsipas having some pretty good matches in Barcelona. There was that one thriller against Diaz Acosta that he survived, and then he lost to Casper Ruud in the final, which was, of course, a rematch of their Monte Carlo final clash just the week earlier. This year, the big difference is that we have Carlos Alcaraz in the Barcelona draw again, and he's done obviously remarkably well at this event in the past. However, the main problem can be that, like, if Carlos is supposed to play Monte Carlo, Barcelona, Madrid, and Rome all back to back, I mean, something's gotta give at some point. So I'm not sure I'm a big fan of his chances to win the title. I guess he's still the favorite, but there is going to be opportunity here for someone to upset him. Could it be Stefanos Tsitsipas? I mean, the Greek has a pretty rough matchup history with Alcaraz. So maybe this could be his chance to get a win. I don't know. We'll see. But of course, for that, he would need to make the semifinals, I think, first. So not going to be that simple. Well, both players would have to make the semifinals. Opelka went 15-30 down, but since then, his serve has come alive. Obviously, that's such a massive asset. And you might think, big servers on clay, not that dangerous. Certainly, Stefanos will have an easier time neutralizing it, but at the same time, the kick is so much bigger from someone like that, from someone who's over 2 meters tall. So it's not that easy. At this point, though, even though Tsitsipas lost, was a pretty nice example of how some of that serve power is neutralized. He got a big serve at the backhand. On a hard court, he never returns this. Here, it was pretty easy. But Reilly actually did well on the +1 forehand, so 2-1 up now. This should be a pretty snappy clay court match. I mean, not what we usually get on this surface, I think, considering, like the pace of play that will be happening and stuff like that. Anyway, Munich, there's also 3 matches. Bautista Agut against Botic van de Zandschulp. Botic, of course, the 2-time runner-up of this event, but he did lose 2-6 to 6, I think, to Lerner Tien in the final round of qualifying. Hanfmann is playing Menchik, which is their 3rd match already. I think Menchik has only played 10 matches on the main tour on clay, and 2 of them were against Hanfmann. So he's going to be at 3 out of 11 after today, which is pretty fascinating. It's like 27%. And also, Lehečka pulled out last minute to let Christopher O'Connell in. O'Connell will play Darderi. You might say, O'Connell? I mean, didn't he lose in the opening round of qualifying in Munich? Yes, he did. But because all the final round qualifying losers were already in, meaning Botic van de Zandschulp, meaning Alexander Shevchenko, meaning Diego de Dura Palomero, and someone else that I'm forgetting right now, the chance was there for a first round of qualifying loser to get in. And that's exactly what happened. Why can't I remember that last lucky loser? I don't know. It's not too important, of course, right now. I'd like to remember though, but oh yeah, of course, Billy Harris was the other one. Hi, Gene. Billy Harris was the last one. But yeah, 5 lucky losers in Munich. In Barcelona, we also had a couple, but of course not for this match, as Tsitsipas is taking on Opelka. Opelka with a protected ranking. Steph, yeah, he might have fallen out of the top 10, but it's not like he's going anywhere in terms of getting into these events. Barcelona is still a much stronger draw than Munich, despite the upgrade for the German event. Germany, I mean, they basically have Zverev, and there's a big gap after that in terms of, let's say, stars. Especially if Shelton lost yesterday, the event would have been a little, I think, left out. But of course, Shelton survived, saving 3 match points against Borna Goyo, whereas Barcelona has a way more even field, I would say. And well, that doesn't, like, I'm not trying to say that Zverev will definitely win Munich. In fact, the last few years, it's not been a great event for him at all. So definitely not what I'm trying to pull off. But in terms of the fields, Barcelona still edging Munich. Especially surprising that Holger Rune, who won the tournament in Germany twice in 2022 and 23, is not part of that draw, is actually in Barcelona. And he defeated Albert Ramos Vinolas yesterday. Ramos Vinolas was playing his last Barcelona Open, or however the event is called, Bank Sabadell Barcelona Open, or whatever. He was playing his last event here, as he is going to be retiring this year, but has not yet confirmed what is going to be his last tournament. He said, though, that he would like to play the ATP 1000 in Madrid, just unclear whether he will get a wildcard. I think at an event like this, it might be difficult. There were some, well, I can't say a scandal, but I think there was some controversy a couple of years back when maybe, was it like Lopez or someone like that who didn't get a wildcard there. So I'm not sure that this will work for Ramos Vinolas because, of course, Madrid is an IMG run event and they like have a lot of wild cards that they basically are responsible for. Of course, they tend to go to the younger players, so you're not going to see me complaining about it. But I can imagine that, someone like Ramos Vignolas, to end his, if for example he says, I'm ending my career in Madrid, I think he definitely could. In my mind, he should get a wild card. But yeah, it's unclear whether he will be able to receive it or not. Didn't do horribly against Holger either. Definitely not. Yeah, I certainly like how Reilly's game is looking so far off the ground. The back and down the line winner here in this game was pretty beautiful. He still lost the game to 15. Obviously, it's gonna be like a little up and down, and he's gonna be more like earning points here or there. But after all, that's kind of the return strategy for Opelka, right? Just hit big, and maybe at some point there's going to be a game where a few good points are combined, and you can actually threaten the opponent. Still, first and foremost, obviously his biggest plan is to just keep serving well, and yeah, hope to put on that pressure on Steph. Clay court's a little easier to handle for sure for Tsitsipas, but it's still not an easy matchup. I think Stefanos would have much preferred to play, I don't know, obviously Albert Ramos Vignolas, who I was just talking about, but I think just like a regular baseliner than someone like Opelka, just because you get more rhythm and yeah, I mean, if you're Stefanos Tsitsipas, you should be feeling confident about beating like 90% of the tour on clay, unless they're basically out hitting you. And then Reilly Opelka is someone who can out hit you even on this surface. So could use a big run, Steph, even though he's already gotten that Dubai ATP 500 title this season. That's a sloppy +1 forehand from Opelka. Goes love 15 down, and also a second serve here. We'll see how big the kick is. Yeah, it's pretty massive, but of course, again, Steph just has so much time on the backhand return here. And whereas, I mean, I'm sure that Opelka didn't have to miss that +1 forehand. He still had the ball sitting up for him. But needless to say, this is a point where, again, I think Tsitsipas can just like extend it by one more point, by one more shot, sorry, compared to other surfaces. So that is quite massive. In fact, Tsitsipas hasn't hit a single unforced error thus far. And a lot of that is just because, yeah, Opelka is mostly on top of the rallies, but he has so much time to react to his shots that he does have the accuracy, the precision to make this happen, the spin he plays with. Anyway, Opelka in big trouble here. How big? Pretty big, because he also double faults. I mean, he was going for the line. Can't blame him, I guess. Can't blame the guy for trying, is the saying. But 3 breakpoints here, as Tsitsipas can definitely get a lot more comfortable in this match if he's up a break. If you're up against someone like Opelka, I think, well, you're definitely not losing the set before the tiebreak, right? If you break him, I think so. This could really allow Stefanos to settle and calm down a little bit. Well, this serve was still big enough for his backhand not to click on the return, but obviously that was the first serve. That's going to be way above 220. Yeah, I think so. 228, I think. Block return from Stefanos. Opelka approaching the net. Should be able to get this done, but he completely breaks this volley. And yeah, I mean, that's just a horrific game from Reilly, to be honest. Double fault and 3 easy errors, like 2 +1 forehands, and then this volley, which he totally should have put away. So it's an early break for Stefanos Tsitsipas, and it's a good start for the Barcelona runner-up of last year. Fields is down a break, interestingly. I mean, Dennis, obviously, it's easy to say this after Tsitsipas has just broken, but yeah, I mean, Stefanos is so good on clay. He's such an all-rounded athlete, very complete game. Provided that he does have indeed more time to return on these courts, which so far we were seeing that he can really extend these points in a way that on other surfaces would not be possible. Yeah, I his chances to win. Fields, I think the main concern is like Monte Carlo, some potential fatigue and stuff like that. I know he only made the quarters, but it was a difficult match against Carlos. Carreño Busta recently is not doing too hot in terms of like physicality. So I think if even if he's down early, he could possibly turn it around against Carreño Busta. But that is something that he can only do if he has a lot in the tank himself. So I'm definitely less, let's say, optimistic at looking at Fields than at Tsitsipas, even if Steph has a tougher opponent. Carreño Busta, yeah, I mean, he just gets into all these 3-hour matches on clay recently against Radulov, against who was it last week in the second round in Madrid. Oh my, I don't remember now. Calvin Emery, and then you can see that it like takes a lot out of him. The semifinals or the quarterfinals against Kamil Majchrzak in Madrid, even though he got a day off, he was just toast. And I'm afraid that something like that might happen to him again if Fields is able to make him go the extra mile. So I guess considering he's down 1-4, that's kind of going to be, well, the strategy, quote unquote, for Arthur here. Anyway, Tsitsipas 3-up. Let's see if he can just keep rolling. Certainly an optimistic start for the Greek. In Munich so far, not many. The matches aren't as, let's say, decisive so far. They're mostly just going on serve. Reilly trying to attack that second serve return, but it's into the net. The last 5 minutes from him have been a bit of a mess for sure. Let me see that Barcelona record for Steph, as I think that also is the event where he played Rafa and had a match point in the final, no? And there was also the match against Carlos. Another match against Carlos, right? So I think he has like 3 finals in Barcelona? 4 finals in Barcelona. Oh, wow. So yeah, there's because I forgot about the first final against Rafa in 2018. And then I remembered the second in 2021 when he had a match point. Did he have a match point? I think he might have had a match point. Anyway, it was super close. And then, of course, 2 years in a row, he lost to Alcaraz. That was one where he actually took a set, and then Carlos won after the Minor 2 match points saved. And then in 2023, in the final, he was just destroyed. Well, destroyed is also a stretch, but he didn't do that well. And then in 24, of course, to Casper Ruud, which I already mentioned a few times. Well, more errors coming from Opelka. I remember that stat that Stefanos didn't have a single unforced error like 2 games ago. I think that still might be the case. Oh, hi, James.
Hey, Damien, I saw you were doing a stream and I thought I'd jump on, see how you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. I was actually, I heard the noise because there's a noise now when someone joins from the background, but I was just dead certain it was the producer, so I didn't even check. But actually, it's you now. Yeah, I mean, how are you enjoying today's play so far?
Quite well. I say I'm not really surprised. Well, I was kind of surprised that Tsitsipas has got such an early break on Opelka, but Opelka's been hitting a lot of unforced errors by the looks of it.
Yeah, double fault and 3 horrible errors in that game, really. 2 + 1 forehands into the net, and there was a volley which he like completely bricked. And I mean, it was just to put away.
I mean, if we know on certainly with Tsitsipas being the comfortable is on the clay, I suspect then we could probably say this set's probably done. Would you say?
Yeah, I think I said earlier that like if you go up a break against Opelka, especially on clay, you probably just know that you're like not losing before the tie break or something like that. So yeah, I mean, he should be pretty comfortable now, and honestly, he still seems pretty comfortable. Just so much time that he has on his backhand here.
Having a look because I'm currently got 15 love on my screen. Second serve, just gone back to the backhand, cross court, up the line. Yeah, I mean he's doing a great job at actually getting the ball away from Opelka's forehand. Really making him stretch that over downwards actually quite a fair bit to actually try and pick up a lot of the balls. Last 15 points, crikey.
Yeah, 13-2. That's pretty striking for sure. Gene, I think I mentioned that earlier, but he made a Rome semi a few years ago.
I think I remember. Was that Opelka?
Dennis? Yeah, Opelka. Yeah. That must have been 21, I think, because later everybody was thinking whether maybe he can do something at the French, and it didn't quite work out. I think he was defeated in like maybe the second round. I think he crushed Andre Martin and then maybe lost to Garin, but that's kind of, I guess. Also, Dennis, I mean, I haven't been watching the Fils Carreño Busta match, so it's very tough for me to say anything. I did, however, like 2 minutes ago, go on a bit of a rant about Carreño Busta's physicality of late. So if Arthur can like make him work for it, probably. And where can you watch? I mean, Tennis TV probably the best option for most countries, at least.
Tennis TV is a
It
great
is paid,
service.
however.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is a shame that Tennis TV. As I say, it's just a shame that Tennis TV doesn't have the women's tournament, the women's events either, because it would make it an absolutely perfect product.
Well. I mean, doubles qualifying.
Yeah.
And what was the third part? Oh yeah, outer courts at 250s. So
yeah,
I have my issues. Let's just say.
Yeah, it's a shame actually that for some reason, although when it comes to WTA broadcast, you can get court 3 and court 4 at 250, in the middle of nowhere. For some reason, for like the big 250s, you can't really see any of the action outside the big center court.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that they're just like not willing to show matches where they don't have like the full multi-camera setup and commentator and everything. But to me, that's a mistake. But anyway, well, 2 breaks now, so things are looking a bit scary for Reilly in this opener for sure. I mean, it's done. Let's just be clear about it. It's done.
No, it's Menzik just about. I know he was facing break points in Munich. I tell you what, it's an absolute day of huge amounts of matches all over the shop, both in Munich and also in Barcelona. They've really packed all the courts with pretty outstanding matches really at any point.
Just got a message from the producer. Did I just see James on the stream?
No,
you surprised him. You surprised him as well, I guess.
I'm almost second. It's the Easter holidays at the moment, so I've been doing a bit of marking. I got a notification popped up on the phone from the funny enough on the Instagram from Instagram saying that Talking Tennis has gone live on Reilly Opelka versus Tsitsipas. I went, oh, okay, correct. I saw your face, and I was like, I'll finish my marking. I'll jump along.
No, that's great. Thanks for the help. I could only do like I'm pretty busy myself today, but I could only do like the first slot of matches. So out of this one, I thought that maybe this will be the most interesting. I mean, thus far it's not really, but also Steph is just like so consistent. I don't think he's even missed a ball really, literally for the entire first set. Kind of waiting to see the stat screen after the opener, because I think there might be some crazy stuff in there. Like, sure, it's pretty easy not to make unforced errors against someone like Opelka, but it's still pretty impressive how, I mean, just has so much time on the backhand. It doesn't seem like anything is, the weapons of Opelka are scaring him whatsoever. And
I mean, I'm guessing you'll know this more than me. Is the court speed? Is the clay court speed for Barcelona similar to that of Monte Carlo?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. It's definitely not super quick. I mean, Munich should be quicker most years, at least. You might remember last year there was that like very cold Munich edition where it was snowing for some days, and I do think the conditions were very different. But generally, Munich should be a bit quicker. It also has some altitude.
Yeah, because it's always been although Tsitsipas hasn't won it, he's got to the final of Barcelona 4 times.
4 times. Yeah,
twice losing to Nadal, once to Alcaraz, and then last year to Casper Ruud. Granted, Tsitsipas did have to win 6 matches to win Monaco that year. So that coupled with the 4 matches he would have had to have done in Barcelona meant he was probably pretty tired by the time he got to that final, and it was a bit of a dud, unfortunately. But there we go. Tsitsipas has taken the first set 6-2. Good start, really, for Steph. Yeah, almost like the point I'm trying to make is that Tsitsipas tends to do very well at the start of the clay court season, and then usually another player start catching up, or they go to more weirder clay court conditions, which he can't handle but as much.
And indeed, 3 winners, 0 unforced errors for Stefanos Tsitsipas.
0 unforced errors.
That's quite yeah. I mean, again, 3 winners. Like he's not really risking much. He doesn't have to risk much. Opelka has 17 unforced errors.
Yikes. Oh, that's a good shot.
It's easy when someone is just trying to blast shots against you, right? Most of your errors are going to be forced, but nonetheless.
Yeah, so 100% of second serve points won there for Tsitsipas. That's a very good stat. Reilly's has got around about 67% of first serves in, so it's not as though his first serve's been falling away. You should say Tsitsipas is standing quite far back, getting a lot more returns back in, and just forcing Opelka to make the mistakes.
Yeah, I focused too much on this, and I actually have to rewind to see the other stats because I just figured that's probably even worth a tweet. But yeah.
Well, I see that
it's quite
Baez
impressive. Even.
Yeah, so saying that Baez has already taken the first set 6-1 in on Piasta 2.
Yeah, that's the third match today, right now in Barcelona. That's the one you guys don't have on the screen, but indeed it's happening. And the king of clay courts, Sebastian Baez, looking for something in a bigger clay court event, finally, maybe. Although, I mean, he's won Rio back to back.
But it's always been a weird thing with Baez, where it's he tends to do really well. Yeah, he tends to do really well in those sort of time spans. South American swing and then the post Wimbledon clay. But barring that Estoril win a couple of years back, he hasn't really done much on the actual European main clay court swing.
Yeah, last year there were a lot of matches where he was like close to a decent win, and then he just like throws it away. Hurkacz in Rome, that he was close to an ATP 1000 quarterfinal. Earlier rounds, but like still, he had a big lead against Struff in Monte Carlo, big lead against Arnaldi. Well, maybe not a big lead, but he had like 4 match points, I think, against Arnaldi here in Barcelona.
Oh, wow. That is so many.
Sorry, yeah, that's kind of similar to that. No, don't worry. That was similar to that volley he got broken with at 2-3.
I mean, it's a simple put away at the net. He's just basically ballooning the entire ball.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same volley. I mean, I think the previous one was of the backhand. This one's of the... No, I don't remember. Anyway, never mind. But yeah, pretty much similar position where like Stefanos is completely out of the point there.
It's a good backhand, cross court from Reilly. Goes to the backhand, up the line. He's really pushing Reilly back, actually.
I love this. I love this comment that I just got on Twitter because I don't know if you're aware, but like in Munich, there's 5 lucky losers already. So O'Connell got in because of despite losing in the first round of qualifying, and basically someone is suggesting that there should be a different acronym instead of lucky loser in such case. So like VLL, that would be very lucky loser, or LTL, like lucky twice loser. Yeah, should be something like that, I think, indeed.
He could go like really quite nasty and go just called like deadbeat.
Or like 50% of the points. You're only able to get 50% points in the tournament.
It's a real shame for Munich actually this year that they've had such a lot of withdrawals after the draw was made, and also before the draw even actually took place. A lot of their top 10 players sort of pulled themselves out of the tournament. Because it's brand new 500. We've seen with like Doha this year, they really put the resources in getting the big name players because it's because that new upgrade, and this year Munich hasn't really been able to do much.
It's tough. I mean, I don't really understand why it's like that. Why the Barcelona draw is so much stronger. Especially Rune is surprising because like he's won the event twice, right? And that was as a 250 and always played so well there. So like, why not go there again? I don't know. But yeah, they basically have Zverev, and then if Shelton lost yesterday, which of course he was very close to, their second highest ranked player left in the field would have been Auger-Aliassime, which, yeah, I mean, fine, but it's just not the kind of stardom that we have in Barcelona.
No, and so your reliance is on Zverev making a deep run, and certainly I know he's won the tournament twice, but that was when he was significantly younger. But in recent years, he's tended to bum out in the first.
Yeah, not in the last few years, right? In the last few years, he's struggling there.
So to be wholly reliant on him to carry the tournament would have been a worry. So it's kind of although Bornagoyo will still have nightmares over that net approach shot. It was kind of good that Shelton almost is still in the tournament.
Nurlan, no, that's not true. If you think that I skipped a few watch-alongs last week, I was just busy at the Beijing King Cup qualifiers, so I wasn't really able to do any watch-alongs.
How was it going to you with the Beijing King Cup qualifiers?
Hi, Gerald. Nice to see you. There were definitely moments when I was like, what am I doing here? Like, it might very well be the last women's event I go to this year. I mean, it's just not as much my thing as men's tennis for sure. I might be going to something combined though, so that would be different. But anyway, yeah, what I'm trying to say is that it was okay. I wish that Bencic didn't pull out. I wish that Świątek didn't pull out. Then surely it would have been better. But still, I mean, Neff over Kostyuk, that was a pretty nice win, a nice performance to watch. Some interesting moments with the Poles as well. Svitolina, of course, being there, that was just something interesting. But the format as well, the free group, the free team group, the fact that on Saturday we basically had no emotions whatsoever. Even if on the first 2 days there was like 80-90% of the crowd was full, and then for obviously the neutral tie, so Switzerland against Ukraine, there were some Ukrainian fans and they were doing the atmosphere was okay, but still it was maybe 20% full or maybe even less. So yeah, I mean, it has some issues, but it was close. I don't regret it.
No, it's I mean, I was watching the GB ties, the one in The Hague, during that week, and as you were saying, the neutral tie that took place with Germany on the Friday, it wasn't the fullest. Yeah, there was like a block of British fans I could see there and a block of German fans, but the majority of the stands were quite empty. But I think because the Netherlands won their tie and GB won their tie against Germany, at least it made that final day on the Saturday a knockout match. So it added that sense, a bit more sense of like risk and atmosphere to the tie, but that was more, artificially created due to the fact that both these two teams were the ones that could have qualified if they, because they at least won their first round matches, or at least their round robin. But also, by the looks of it, I think the Hague tie was the Hague matches were the only ones on clay. Bizarrely enough, out of all the Billie Jean King Cup ties that took place.
Poland as well. Poland as well.
That was on clay.
Indoor clay.
Oh, I really am surprised that Iga didn't rock up, because I would have thought she would have gone there to have got a couple of matches in.
That's why it wasn't clay. I mean, they were basically hoping that she would play, and they were hoping that because the courts are made in the same technology as Stuttgart, she would come. I honestly think it would have been a fine decision. I mean, otherwise she was just like in Stuttgart a lot earlier, but at the same time it would have been some nice warm-up, I guess, maybe without that much pressure. Although Svitolina, she would have to play, so I guess not that easy. I don't know. I was thinking she might play precisely for the reason that, it's the same court as Stuttgart, really. So, but yeah, she pulled out about a week before the event, maybe.
Yeah, because Świątek hasn't played much. She got knocked out fairly middle of, was it quarterfinals of Miami, so it's had already a week and a bit off, and won't probably play till Thursday by looks of it for Stuttgart. So I'm surprised she didn't rock up for a couple of matches. Because Poland didn't qualify, did they? It was who qualified in the end from that group? Ukraine qualified from that group. So yeah, I think she kind of maybe costed Poland the ability to go to the finals.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at least we would have had a shot. Ukraine brought out the big guns, like they literally brought the best team they could. Svitolina, Kostyuk, the Kichenok sisters in doubles.
Mm.
So they were the clear favorites. And yeah, unfortunately, because they were so strong and they beat Poland six sets to zero, even despite Chwalińska having like 5 set points in the opener against Svitolina, we had that situation where on Saturday they literally needed 1 set.
Yeah.
They only needed to win 1 set in 3 matches. So yeah, that's why it wasn't that dramatic. Even though the first match actually ended up being a Switzerland win 2 sets to love. But yeah, it still felt like, it's a done deal basically. Yeah, I mean, Iga is not really like playing, let's say, Beijing King Cup that often, I guess, in her career. But recently, of course, she played the finals. She played that
Mm.
one before the Olympics against Switzerland in order to fulfill the qualification quota. Yeah, I think it was a good opportunity for her to play. Also because like this week she couldn't even practice with Wim Fissette because he was also at Beijing King Cup in Vilnius. So
Mm.
for that reason, I'd say maybe it's a little weird that that she didn't show up. But anyway, I mean, it's obviously like I'm not one of these people who are going to say it's her duty to play there or something like that. No, not really.
No, I mean we
Um,
had Emma Raducanu didn't sign up for GB, but luckily our third best player Sonia Cartel was a real bedrock to be able to get the wins in their matches. So sometimes
Interesting
it works.
doubles call as well, right? At the end, there was an interesting doubles call with who was it?
Yeah, I mean
Berge and
usually
Bolter playing. Yeah,
yeah, because I remember because I watched because the day before Dart and Nichols were the doubles team, and they really looked second best in their match really, and we knew that there was a really good doubles player in the Netherlands team in Skurs, so it was a bit of a wild card decision really to stick Bolter and Burridge as a double as two singles players on as a doubles team, and this time it worked out really quite well. It was a dominant win in the end actually. But I do think,
uh,
it's the problems with
yeah.
Katie.
As an Olivia Nichols fan, I was a little hurt, but in the end, I mean, 6-2, 6-2 over Demi, as you said, over Demi's horse. Yeah, that's a pretty big scoreline. So I guess it worked out well for the captain.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's sort of it's been another tournament where it's pointing out the problems of Bolter on clay, and it's realistically, any other surface she would have beaten Susan Lehman's. I know she's a friend of the show, but she would have beaten Susan
Friend of
Lehman's
the
no
show,
problem.
exactly. Yeah.
No problem. But this time around, it just seems as though we've got another season of Bolton not knowing really what to do on the clay court, which is going to be a bit annoying. But potentially Cartel though looking good on the surface. I know she's playing in Roland this week, so it'll be interesting to see how she can perform. She's hunting down, trying to break the world top 50 this year.
Yeah, and we actually had a situation where here we could have potentially even had a double break, love 30 on the Opelka serve, but he manages to get out of this despite going to deuce. It's still up a set and a break for Stefanos, and unless he has like a massive meltdown, it's kind of hard to imagine him losing this. Or maybe Opelka just hits 4 incredible winners in one game, which happens sometimes.
Mm. No, it certainly is having a look around the crowd. 5-5 between Thies and Canadian Buster. So they're back on serve there. Dezuma is an early break up on Baez in the second set.
Also, Yannick Hanfmann is going to serve for the opener against Jakub Mensik, who, of course, is playing his first match since winning Miami.
Yeah, interesting. It'd be a lot of eyeballs will be on men's six certainly today to see how well he can now do on the clay surface coming off the back of such a huge win in Miami. It would be normal to expect a little bit of a come down, almost like you wouldn't expect it to be that high level of performance straight from the get go again.
I mean, yeah, but then again, he gave himself a lot of time to rest, right? So we'll see.
There's always a thing like you could go play a tournament level, which is just lower than the one you've won, and then where's your motivation for that tournament and whatnot. raining again. Oh no, it's I've seen it. It's been raining a lot in Arias. Is that how you pronounce it?
Well, don't ask me. I say Oeiras, but it's like Ueras, I think, or something like that. Ueras or Ueras. I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Arias.
Yeah, Ueras or something like that. I don't know.
I could just be like very blasé and say, "Oh, it looks like the word Oreo." Call it Oreo, but no. Arias. No, but it's got a beautiful. Arias has that beautiful centre court, which the ATP used to show off the electronic line technology for the clay court systems. It's a shame that
and it was the venue of me and John's of my and John's first match last year. Of course, not the center court, but that's that venue.
Was this the one where John kept on going on about the balls?
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
Because we didn't have balls and we just got them from the reception, and they were some, I don't know. The guy got them from the back, and they were a bit rough. But I do think John was maybe, just going at it a little bit too much because of the scoreboard and everything. Like, I don't know. I was fine. I like when the bounce is low, so maybe that was also helpful to me. But yeah, indeed, we obviously saw that beautiful court.
You need to get you on a grass court then, Damien, if you like low bouncing balls.
Yeah, I started playing on artificial grass, so I haven't played on like a real grass court, but yeah, absolutely. Anyway,
we were saying about Tsitsipas maybe giving it up here. He's currently facing 2 break points.
Yeah, and I think he just hit his first unforced error, didn't he?
He did, just plummeting a forehand into the net. Opelka here with a chance to get back into this one.
Finally, there's an unforced error from Stefanos Tsitsipas.
Oh, first point gone. It was a good first serve for a Tsitsipas, straight down the tee. Opelka unable to get anything onto it. Second serve on tees, slice back, forehand by Tsitsipas. Cross court again. Oh, just brilliant from Tsitsipas, moving Opelka, stretching him out wide and getting a mistake out of him.
Yeah, that short angle was really nice.
I'm always get jitters now whenever I see Apostolos in the Tsitsipas box. Like, are we going back to those times?
Well, I mean, Goran is supposed to join, right?
Yeah. A bit weird it's saying about Goran joining after the French Open. It's like, surely with Tsitsipas in his game, you want him for the French Open.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's still like not clear what exactly is going on. Tsitsipas, I read today that he like hasn't been replying to many questions about Goran and basically said that you'll know soon or something like that. So I don't know, but yeah, that should be quite exciting for sure.
No, I mean, I just hope he doesn't get blindsided again on coaching choices. Goran, like he did unfortunately, Robaka.
Yeah, I mean, he joined the team there, was thinking that the situation is going to be a little different, then backed out. And with Steph, it could be the same if Apostolos has a bigger impact than Goran might think. But yeah, Stefanos survives that game, by the way, 6-3-1. I mean, was that the last moment for Opelka? Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, good angle on that second break point on the forehand. That was kind of what won.
Great, really forcing the big man out wide and getting the mistake out of him. It's like a classic, 2000 style tennis move, that one there. Get the big man on the stretch. Oh no, Mensik broke back, but he is facing 3 break points against Hackman.
Yeah, Matthew, as you said, I think Mensik is going to be definitely very good in Madrid, like he was last year, where he also beat Hanfman, by the way, and Dimitrov, which is maybe the more relevant win. However, Hanfman had a big Madrid run a couple of years back. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that these conditions suit him very well. But I mean, I'm not expecting him to win ATP 1000s, but he should be getting wins on clay courts. Like, he's definitely fine. He won his first challenger on clay in Prague in 2023. And yeah, I think he can definitely be let's say a contender on the tour, but of course not really like a big title winner, probably outside of Madrid, maybe. Hi, Julian. Why is there a membership only video of John playing tennis topless? Well, there's this website, Matthew, OnlyFans. It's getting more popular in tennis, and Alexander Miller is not really there, but he is sponsored. Sasha Vickery, though, a friend of the show, has an account. So maybe that's where John got the inspiration from.
Yeah, if you want to see more videos of John playing topless, please do become a member. That was said in jest, by the way, everyone. Forehand to the nets. It's okay. I wonder why my laptop's making a bit of a racket.
Yeah, this is not the finest Reilly Opelka clay court hour so far. 2-6, 1-3, another breakpoint to go double breakdown. It's not quite that Rome run from 2021. Stefanos just very comfortable hanging back in that rally, adding that spin on the backhand. Opelka can't quite blast through it. And yeah, let's see this
Breathing
breakpoint.
quite heavily, Tsitsipas. That was quite an interesting shot. I'm just really trying to gulp in some air. Yeah, I mean, he's standing so far back. He's pretty much by the, next to the Sabadell sign.
Yeah, and funnily enough, on this very point, it actually kind of hurt him. But for the most part, it's good for him. That obviously he gives himself so much time. He can run around so many second serve returns. Maybe not against Opelka, but against most players.
See, oh God, that was wild. Yeah, Opelka's just lost at the moment. If the ball comes back to him, he is just lost.
Yeah, I feel like I'm watching Thomas Barrios Vera yesterday in Sarasota. Tallahassee. He had a few games like this when every single backhand looked like that.
Wow, that looked like an absolutely thumping scoreline for Michael Moe. I mean, geez.
Yeah, he was even 6-3-5 love up, so could have been easier. And speaking of pretty terrible backhands, there's another one, 6-2-4-1, and it's not from Mr. I suck at backhand, Stefanos Tsitsipas. It's from Mr. Reilly Opelka, who today is much worse, that's for sure. And 6-2-4-1, 2 breaks up now in the second set. Well, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is pretty much done. I mean, John, he can do OnlyFans if he wants to, but is anybody going to pay? That's always the question, right? I mean, I would never subscribe to John's OnlyFans, but maybe there are people who would.
So is that you saying you have an OnlyFans account there, Damien, to subscribe to?
Oh no, I don't have one actually. No, I never really understood the purpose of the website. Like, there's so much free porn on the internet. What are you doing? but maybe that's also because the personal connection, right? I guess that's what people are looking for the most part, at least.
I mean, I've never been on the website, but I've heard from videos I've watched about its business model that OnlyFans people can models or whatnot can actually message their top subscribers and all sorts.
Like, I can understand that, I guess, just like out of pure loneliness, if you're willing to, if you're just looking to like have that sort of personal contact with somebody, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't. I think I've been on the website to check the Bernard Tomic account years back, but that's probably the only time. Bernie had this account with his girlfriend, and that was it. But I don't think I was able to see anything. I think it was also like paywalled, and yeah, basically didn't really get to see how it works. I wasn't gonna pay, but to see Bernard Tomic like doing stuff with his girlfriend. No, I mean I'm a tennis fan. I can even say I enjoy the whole, let's say, cult hero, Bernie Tomic lore, but not enough to pay to see him. Yeah, no, thank you.
Or commit acts with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's quite Oh no, that's another unforced error there from Sitsi.
I think it is. Yeah. He's ruining the stat. How am I gonna make a hit tweet after this match?
There's no big stat tweet you can put out about this. Just clay court specialist puts apart American big server. Did you watch any of the matches yesterday?
Barcelona, Munich. What did I watch? I watched Billy Harris in Munich because he was trying to secure his top 100 debut.
Yeah, that was it. Was looking all right. He got the 3-all in the third, but it just fell apart from there.
I mean, the second set tiebreak that Goffin played, Jesus Christ, that was so awful. But yeah, Billy, the last few weeks has just been. I think he's playing much better than last clay season, but the pressure is definitely getting to him. He's just losing all these tight matches.
One more win and I'll become top 100 and. Yeah,
this is I think the first time he was actually in this position. No, second time where Spizziri in Miami as well. But in a challenger he needed a run, but he wasn't able to get it because I don't know. He's up against Ramos Vignolas of all people in the third set. He's dominating him physically, and then suddenly has 4 horrible games. I mean, yeah, time is running out.
And of course, Ramos Vignolas signed out at Barcelona last night because it's the French Open is going to be his last tournament, isn't it?
It's unclear.
Okay. Or we know
I don't think Yeah, I don't think he said it. He wants a Madrid wildcard, but he doesn't know if he'll get it.
Do you think they'll give him? Oh, maybe it's an IMG event, isn't it? And they don't tend to actually be as nationalistic in terms of their wildcard choices.
Precisely, yeah. It's an event where sometimes I think in the past there was a controversy like this already, where they didn't give a wildcard to like Verdasco or Lopez or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, I think it's an event which basically had this situation before, where like a veteran retiring was not granted one. So I don't really know.
I think I remembered that it was the year where I believe because I remember it because it was another year where Andy Murray kept on getting a wild card for the event. Quite justifiably, but then also Jack Draper, because he was an IMG player, got one when Jack was only ranked just outside the top 100, and people going, well, hang on a minute, why are there 2 Brits that are getting wild cards?
That's the addition when he lost to Rublev, or
Rublev in the second round, but he did beat Sonego in the first.
Okay.
Of that tournament, to kind of justify the wild card by I think if you can win your first round match, you've at least justified your wild card, like you have been competitive.
Yeah, I mean depends who you draw, but for sure. Wild cards are exactly that, wild cards, right? We don't have any rules. We don't have any requirements.
They could literally be given to anyone. We could be given a wild card to Madrid if we wanted.
Exactly. If our friend was the tournament director, we could literally play Madrid tomorrow. if you call that a busted system, maybe. I don't hate it. I mean, it creates good stories, so that's fine by me.
I mean, also, it's not so the wild cards make up like half the draw or anything like that. It's literally like the last couple of slots or last like few
You
slots
could
in
you
the
could probably argue though
big
that
100 odd
it
draw
could
sheet.
be less, like it could be fewer spots, because if you're thinking like, I don't know, 3, 4, if 4 wild cards a tournament, it's a bit much maybe, but I don't know. There's definitely a gap, at least between the biggest countries in tennis, the ones that are hosting events every single month on the ATP tour, and then you have someone from, I don't know, whatever country that doesn't have any tournaments, and it creates a bit of a gap for sure.
Mm. No, another thing you mentioned there is if you're a nation that has a lot of events throughout the year, then a lot of your players are going to get more unfair opportunities to get into it than others. Like the French and the Americans tend to have a lot of events throughout the year for their players to be able to get into who might not,
Yeah, I
wouldn't
think
normally
France
get
and the
into
US, at least, they have a lot of
events.
players at the same time. So it's not always going to be like the same wild cards, but there are some I guess countries where maybe they have a lot of events but also not that many players, and then you just kind of get it every time, or getting it every time for the slams. Of course, it's pretty massive. Stefanos, what are you doing? You are completely ruining the stats here with the backhand down the line here. How can you hit more than 3 unforced errors in a match?
Yeah, I kept breaking up a bit there.
Oh, sorry. I was just blaming Stefanos Tsitsipas for making unforced errors and destroying the stats. Ooh, seems like the tiebreak between Carreño Busta and Fields is quite a show. Oh, and it's 8-6 for Fields. Okay. I mean, considering all we know about the physicality of Carreño Busta in recent days, recent weeks, I'd say that he is probably going to win this now. Fields, I mean.
No, yeah, it's got over that rough first set.
Yeah, so there was 2 set points before the breaker that Fields had. Matthew says that it's probably not me that is breaking up. Yeah, it could be true. Might be James indeed. I had some internet lag for a second earlier, so I thought it might be me, but then I realized that I think it's actually James at the moment. Carreño Busta choked the volley at 6. Oh, okay. I'm gonna check that, Gene, I guess, based on your recommendation. Although we also have the last game of Tsitsipas and Opelka, 6-2, 5-1, and well, maybe the last game, 15:30. Yeah, 2 set points before the tiebreak, one each in 2 separate games, right? That's rough. My stream seems to be misfiring now on the Carreño Busta Fields one, so maybe I'll check the volley later. Anyway, 2 match points for Stefanos Tsitsipas for an extremely dominant win. Yeah, if Carreño Busta loses a 1 hour long opening set right now, these days, I don't really like his chances to come back.
No, it's not looking good for him. And at the moment, drop shot worked. So Opelka's still living in this tournament just a bit, just a bit.
Gene also recommends one of the set points. I will probably catch them later. Oh, and here it is actually.
Hand. Oh, just sticking it out. Did you watch any of the Masters a couple of days ago, there, Damien?
No, no, I'm not a big golf fan. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't think it's, as boring as watching paint dry or something like that. I never really got into it that much though, so yeah, I don't really follow it. I know Rory McIlroy only because he was with Caroline Wozniacki. That's literally the only reason why I even know who he is. I know Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, obviously, and that's probably where my golfing knowledge ends.
No, I mean I don't watch golf, but even I tuned in over the weekend to watch to watch some of that. Well, I say over the weekend, like I stayed up until like 1 o'clock in the morning UK time, just because I was that I was that fixed on what was happening. I was like, he's gonna do it, and then all of a sudden he then like flummoxes it up, and I'm like, he's not gonna do it.
Maybe golf will be the next sport I get into, but not for now yet. Talking golf, now that would be a show. Okay, my stream is finally back. So instead of watching the last few points of Tsitsipas and Opelka, I'm actually now more willing to check out the volley at 6-all from Karenia Busta, which maybe isn't the right call here considering what we're doing on the stream. Oh no! And he's actually such a good volleyer too. So many matches like over the last few months, which he wins by going to the net and being perfect on the touch there every single time. Aye, aye, aye. Yeah, that's just difficult for sure. Fields indeed just went after his backhand on one of the set points. But it wasn't that close to the line. Maybe it was not the one that Jean mentioned. Maybe it's actually going to be the other one. Ah, no, okay. Yeah, sure. Decent shot. Nothing crazy, though. Well, Opelka is still surviving. A few match points saved already by the big American. We've got Big Ben, as that's how they're calling Shelton. This is Big Reilly. Trying to extend this match somehow. I think it's 3 match points that he's already saved, and he will get the game. So 6-2, 5-2 Tsitsipas. He's going to have to serve for it. Hasn't been broken, but there were a couple of breakpoints earlier, of course, that he was able to convert. Steph playing pretty smart there with the early forehand aggression, but like trying to play more the angle than the sheer pace of it. Hanfman took the opening set against Menchik. Botic van de Zandschulp up a set on Bautista Agut. Do you guys think that Botic just straight up tanked the final qualifying round against Lerner Tien? I think he might have. I mean, there was a 75% chance of getting into the main draw, but maybe he knew that someone else was going to be withdrawing. I don't know. It looked a bit weird, 6-2, 6-2, for Lerner, who is, of course, not a clay god, at least yet, and got defeated pretty handily by the other Dutchman, so by Talon Griekspoor in the opening round, as there are only 2 Dutchmen on the whole planet. So yeah, Fields can run away with things now. 3 break points to go set a breakup on Pablo Carreño Busta. Whereas, of course, in just a moment, Stefanos Tsitsipas will be serving to take us, to take himself to the second round, I'd say. 5th Barcelona final incoming, surely, for Stefanos Tsitsipas. Although he might have to beat Alcaraz, so that's not easy.
What's the draw looking like for him?
Steph has Alcaraz in the semis, I believe, but I was actually going to check now who he plays in the second round. I'm not familiar with it. Oh, Korda. Oh, that's difficult. He has a pretty bad matchup with Korda. Miami, of course, Sebi just played a really great match against him. So also Fields quarters. He's lost to Fields before. Of course, provided Fields beats Carreño Busta and Martinez.
Well, he's looking good at the moment. He's got he's one love, but looks like it could potentially go 30 level.
Exactly. Tiafoe doesn't have to play Mahach, but he gets Munar now, says Matthew. I mean, it's not that much easier, I guess, on clay, is it?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Genu might have something to do with the Netherlands. I didn't remember what it was exactly, but I do definitely also much prefer Griekspoor as not a fellow Dutchman, but a fellow enjoyer of Dutch tennis. And yeah, Sean, I mean, Shelton is just he's trying to play like this. I think he's just trying to be a vintage old school star. It's just not gonna work. I mean, if you can't hit a backhand or if you can't return for 3 sets against Borna Goyon clay, I don't know. It was a win that he got, but it didn't feel like he deserved it. I mean, he deserved it, I guess, more than Goyo, who just kept choking. But it's just not a win that he got because he did something smart or something like that. No, it's a win he got because he has good fighting spirit and still was like playing very much, everything against what clay court tennis should look like. Yeah, that's a rough block return from Opelka as Tsitsipas gets 2 more match points. This time, of course, on serve. It's another block return, and Stefanos throws in the forehand drop shot, which the big guy will not be able to track down. 6-6-2. Handshake between the two. Yeah, easier than expected. I still have issues hearing you, to be honest. Sometimes there's something. Yeah.
It's cutting a lot.
Okay, yeah, now I heard that, for example. Yeah, so I'm saying Shelton scammed the win. I mean, for sure, Shelton scammed the win. That's, yeah, definitely. Tsitsipas, though, didn't scam the win, right? Stefanos was straight up better. Stefanos was dominating. Let's see the stats right now.
Yeah, I'll can you hear me okay, Damien?
Now, yes. He ends up with 9 unforced errors, Tsitsipas. I mean, what a horrible effort. But Reilly Opelka ended up with 35. Ow. This is more than 50% of the points that Steph won at 64-38. Reilly only won 18 out of 58 points of the baseline. Yeah. 4 out of 9 on break points. Tsitsipas, 0 out of 3 Opelka. That was all in the second set. Yeah, I mean, not much impact from the Opelka serve, not much impact from his big ground strokes. Stefanos was so comfortable behind the baseline, on the backhand side as well. He had so much time to neutralize and was just able to dominate the American. I was expecting a tighter match for sure. It looked to me like this could be, if not like a brilliant clash or something like that. No, it's just a reasonably good affair. and probably Steph is going to win, but it will take some time. Not on this occasion. He was able to just put away Opelka so confidently. Korda is a difficult opponent in the second round, but again, someone who is slightly more manageable on clay courts. So I see James has dropped off. Unfortunately, the connection was pretty rough. We'll see if he comes back. I think that because this match was so short, maybe we'll just stay on until the end of Carreño Bustafiz. To be honest with you, I'm assuming there will be just 2 sets. It is free love for Arthur right now in the second. I'm gonna try to watch it until the end. I really don't think Carreño Busta will be coming back, but let's see. That's a massive forehand as well from Fields. Arthur would play Pedro Martinez in the second round, so another Spaniard for him there, but then he's also in that Fields Tsitsipas quarter, and we know that he's been a rough opponent for Steph when they played as well. Been a very nice season for Fields, even if maybe like points wise you can't really see it. Of course, he's high in the rankings, but that's mostly based on Tokyo and Hamburg. But in the race, he's actually not that high. But 3 consecutive ATP 1000 quarterfinals is a great achievement, especially for a guy who was like desperate for that sort of consistency last year. And yeah, I think he's really, the game is coming together for some more consistent wins, runs, and that's precisely what we were, I think, looking for in regards to that sort of game. There's also a very interesting match here again between Galan and Ruud coming up on Pista Rafa Nadal. Okay, maybe I stretched it with the very interesting one. I'm already thinking that if Ruud beats Galan, then he might run into Hamad Medjedovic in the second round, which would be amazing. And I know Matthew would also enjoy this matchup, Medjedovic Ruud. So sorry, Daniel, but today I actually kind of think that Medjedovic Ruud would be an amazing match in the second round. So maybe we can get it. Carreño Busta wins the first game. Well, his first game in the second set. I'm trying to get you the scoreboard from that match, but so far it's loading for me, as you can probably see. Maybe we'll get it in a moment. We'll see. Darwin Blanche played the challenger in Mexico. Is he expected to play plenty of challengers for the rest of the year? It depends on wildcards, basically, because I don't think does he have... No, I don't think he has the junior accelerator, does he? So I think it's kind of dependent on wildcards and the ranking he gets to, but he is improving. So yeah, I think he should be able to play more and more challengers, but I wouldn't be surprised if he still has plenty of ITFs coming for him this year too. But he is getting better. He is improving. I think he will be getting some wildcards. So yeah, why not? Yeah, I definitely don't know why Medjedovic wouldn't be able to beat Ruud right now. Like, sure, it's pretty difficult in slow conditions. We know that his patience will be tested, no doubt. I'm not disagreeing with that. But yeah, he's been playing pretty smart this week. We know that if he wants to, he can definitely grind, and he can definitely be a let's say a less erratic player than generally he is. Yesterday against Pecci Pericard, sure, it could have gone both ways in the second set tiebreak, but for the most part, I think Hamad was really threatening. 27 forehand winners of the ground, which is pretty insane. And yeah, obviously the serving was good. I think Hamad has now joined the main tour for real, and I expect big stuff. I don't know if this tournament really, but Madrid, for example, he should be so deadly in these conditions. Low 30 here on the field serve. Let's see if this is like the last moment for Carreño Busta. Yeah, Popperin beat Ruud, but had to save 2 match points. That definitely was like a big stain on Casper's record last week. Monte Carlo defending the final, now defending the title in Barcelona. Usually he does well on clay anyway. Like even if the start is pretty poor, he just picks it up, right? We'll see if he gets it done this time, but it's getting a bit worrying for Casper. And I do think he's vulnerable at the moment. Yeah, for sure. 7-6-4-1. That was a good recovery from low 30 for Arthur. So he keeps going, and he's now just 2 games away. One four down, Carreño Busta trying to keep himself in this. I mean, for now, he's definitely behind. I think he's still moving okay. It's not quite like the quarterfinals against Mike Struck in Madrid, but that was just Saturday as well, so it's not like he had that much time to recover, I suppose. But he is behind. Fields has grown more confident. It's not going to be easy to come back from this. Trading backhands cross with Fields now. And it's actually going to be Arthur dumping his backhand into the net. Looks like this game will go pretty quickly to the Spaniard. That's some really good clean timing on the back and down the line here. 7-6-4-2. Still 2 games away Fields, but he has to, show us that he can actually produce this here. What do I think has been the main improvement in Fields' game? Matthew says that he has shown great resilience. That has impressed me. Shot selection has also improved. When he's been pumped up, he can be too aggressive, and it's all about striking the right balance. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. If you remember the Medvedev match, which he actually lost, do you remember how smart he was playing there for the most part? Let's say set 2 especially, when he was just getting Daniil to slice and then mixing it up or like, drawing him in with the short slice and then mixing it up with a deeper shot, completely getting Medvedev off balance, because in these conditions he kind of couldn't hit through him, so he had to get creative about it. And it's like a level of thinking on the court that I don't think he's ever displayed before. And especially when you watch the match against Alcaraz in Monte Carlo, I think it's clear that these players are just very similar, that they just have all the natural talent. They have the flair. They have the ability, be amazing shot makers and basically woo the crowd with that as well. And sometimes they just want to do that instead of actually focusing on percentage play, on winning the match a little bit. So I think they have similar issues. And when you saw him playing like that, like athletically, when you see how they are matching up against each other, that's maybe what they should rely a little bit more on, right? Just the fact that they're such physical monsters, and sometimes they kind of forget that and just try to like smash crazy winners left and right. Of course, on clay that's a bit easier. Also, it's clear that the best days of Fields are the ones where like his backhand isn't an issue, and when he's holding up in rallies, like he's been in all these big matches against Alcaraz, Zverev, Medvedev. Yeah, he's almost as good as they are, or in the case of Medvedev and Zverev, perhaps even better than they are. So yeah, I love this break. I love this development. It's obviously like because of what Menchik and Draper did, Fields isn't going to be the main guy that everybody is talking about right now. But I'm not convinced that especially Menchik is better than him at the moment, right? That's probably not true. In fact, Draper, you could probably make a similar argument. And yeah, Menchik actually beat Fields in Miami, which aren't perfect conditions for Arthur's game, not really. If they play on clay, the favorite would be Fields at the moment. It's just that like his rise, him getting so much more consistent, isn't gonna get the same hype presently. He needs like a bigger result for that. Still, I guess the one thing that he has to do sometime soon is a slam run, right? Wimbledon fourth round last year, that was good, but especially maybe at the French, if he can produce something, that would be lovely. I think last year he lost to Arnaldi, who's been obviously like his most difficult opponent on tour, I think, than the Nemesis. There was also that year where he lost in back-to-back slams to Davidovich Fokina, another player who's been so difficult for him to face. Maybe if you can avoid someone like that, someone like a quick, scrappy defender in the first few rounds of Roland Garros, I'd love to see him get on a big run. Of course, in Australia, he was playing very well in the first two rounds against Virtanen or Alice, but then had to retire against Humbert. Unclear what would have happened in that match if he survives it, and also unclear whether he would have a better chance than Ugo at beating Zverev in the next round. Of course, he's already posted two massive wins over Zverev. Still at the slam, I guess. Australia also not the perfect conditions for him. Well, we don't know again what would have happened, but yeah, I do think he is showing signs of improving tactically, shot selection wise, and stuff like that. Just maybe, as Matthew said, balancing out his talent and the let's say that the will that he has in him to just be an entertainer at the same time as a tennis player, I guess, or maybe not even be an entertainer to the crowd. He has that too, but even more so, I think he just wants to have fun. Like he just wants to hit these crazy shots, even maybe more so for himself. That's a good deep backhand return. Carreño Busta trying to redirect it right away, but he doesn't have enough time on it. So it's gonna be 15-all here at 2-5. Now he's struggling to connect with more backhand returns though. 40-15 for Carreño Busta, as he's just trying to force Fields to serve it out. Another backhand trade between them. Oh, this ball from Arthur really like skidded on the clay. I'm not really sure why. But yeah, you could see that after the bounce, it just like went straight at Carreño Busta with even more force than Arthur played it with. So that's not exactly the best bounce, and just 2 points away now. Let's see if Arthur can maybe look for this break and make sure that this match is done as quickly as possible. He is on the back foot here, and that's going to be another bad bounce. Yeah, he's going to have to apologize to Carreño Busta for that. Pablo totally whiffed on the ball. I think partially he was also expecting it to go out, but then when it actually bounced, yeah, it was very difficult for him to still hit it, even if he was more or less in position. Arthur apologizing to him with a hand gesture a few times, obviously. But yeah, it's match point now for Arthur Fields, who is trying to claim this match 7-6, 6-2. He's back in this point with some good athleticism. He's going to play a very deep cross-court forehand. Now he's really in control, but Carreño Busta stays alive, has a forehand down the line, and he's going to draw out an error from Fields eventually. Yeah, I mean, if this is going to be a match that Pablo Carreño Busta wins, pretty legendary match point save. We'll see about that. But especially impressive was the half volley forehand that he played there, because Arthur's cross court shot was just so powerful, so deep. Carreño Busta didn't really have any space to react, any time to move back, and he just like straight up took the forehand on the half volley, which on clay is a little more difficult. Anyway, deuce here. Is it a let? Is it a second? Is it a missed first serve? I'm not positive. I guess it was a missed first serve. Arthur really ramping up the pace on the forehand here. Carreño Busta is doing pretty well, just absorbing and counterpunching, and he finds his opportunity to go backhand down the line. And he manages to hold, so he saves the match point, and now he will at least ask the question of Arthur Fierce. I have to say that despite that 1 hour long opening set, it's not really a match where Carreño Busta is struggling physically so far. I don't think that's the case. So it's a little different than his recent losses, I guess. Fils just had a lot of momentum after that first set tiebreak. Took a break early and is riding the wave, at least so far. That's another massive deep cross-court forehand from Fils. He's been so good on this. Obviously, I mean his forehand is one of the best in the business. The combination of pace and spin is so extreme. And yeah, he can look like this, just so deep, so fast, but also so safe with the amount of spin involved. This is going to be a missed return from the Spaniards. So now Fertilov up, 2 points away from the match views on his serve. Does Arthur make this shot? It's on the line. Yeah. Again, that's a pretty stunning winner. So 3 match points in a row on his serve. You literally can't be in a better position. Goes backhand down the line and is going to have a chance to put it away with a forehand winner in the same direction. And yes, it's massive again. I'm interested to see the stats if we get like the full stat package on this court and all the average ground stroke speeds that sometimes Arthur has crazy records on. I think in the second set he could have been really, really high in these last few games on the forehand. Anyway, 7-6, 6-3. So definitely a match that was not easy because Arthur had to save 2 set points just before the tiebreak. And also the put away volley that Jean mentioned and that I rewinded to watch. Yeah, I mean, that's just something that a volleyer of Carreño Busta's class cannot really do. And while losing that hour-long opener, I think for someone like Carreño Busta right now, it doesn't bode well for his chances because his stamina, his physicality, it's not what it was. And I just think, mostly he just gave Arthur a lot of momentum himself, right? With that missed volley, with the breaker. And what can you do at this stage? 2 set points saved as well. He was pretty clean on that, with good early aggression after the serve. 1 backhand winner, 1 forehand forced error, I believe. And here we have the stats: 36 winners to 29 errors from fields, 20 forehand winners. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Carreño Busta at 15-15, so definitely a reasonably clean performance from him. Carreño Busta was 6-8 at the net, but that of course includes that pretty poor. That of course includes that pretty poor point that he had there. So we don't have the full stat package. We don't have the serve speeds. The ground stroke speeds. That's a little bit of a shame. Anyway, I mean, that it's Arthur Fils, so he was hitting massive forehands left and right. That's for sure. Yeah, let's see what you guys were saying here. Basically Jean talking about Umberlos. Yeah, we mentioned that. Hi, Dan. A lot of ways to win ugly, for sure. Very good win, indeed. I see that the scoreboard broke. Sorry for that. Anyway, that's going to be it for the stream. Just before we end, let me look at what's happening on the other courts and any other the Munich matches as well. Just to like briefly take a look at what's going on there. But obviously, we'll be wrapping this up sometime soon. Baez defeated Jumhur in the end, 6-1, 7-5. If I remember correctly, he was like 2-5 down maybe in the second set there, so he must have had a big turnaround. Galan and Ruth already playing. Whereas in Munich, we still haven't had any matches finishing, and it's Bautista Agut and Van de Zandschulp going into the decider now. Jakub Menschik is looking to go into the decider with Hanfmann. He is 4-2 up in the second set. 30 love as well on return. And Chris O'Connor and Luciano Darderi. Darderi, the Marrakesh champion, who is on a small win streak because of that tournament. He won the first set in a tiebreak, and now it's 5-4 for the Australian. So, pretty tight matches in Munich. Barcelona, even though the start times were the same, in Barcelona, we've already had 3 matches finished, and Munich still hasn't had even a single one. Anyway, thank you guys for the stream. Thank you to James as well, who joined for a while, but had some internet connection issues. And we'll see you in some other Talking Tennis content. I think the producer already hinted at the fact that we have some people on. That's not what I was planning to do, obviously. I was just trying to change the quality of my camera. But now you can watch my ceiling, I guess. I think it is the ceiling. Anyway, never mind. Thank you guys, and I'll see you on some other content. We have people in Oeiras. We have people in Stuttgart, maybe. I don't know if we have people in Stuttgart. Anyway, we have a lot of content coming up on the channel. So this beautiful screen at the end, that's what you're going to see now. Let me see if I can also give you that John Silk outro video at the very end. Yes, indeed, I can. So thank you, Jean. Thank you to everybody in the chat. And I'll see you guys.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.